Welcome to Weekly Pulse. I'm Ralphie Aversa. All right, we're a week away from the NFL draft. And while this draft won't look like the event as we typically know it, no doubt those 3 days will change the future for so many prospects. One of those prospects, running back DeAndre Swift, joins us to talk about the draft. He compares himself to one of the top rushers in the league right now. Find out who that is. And we'll also look at a couple of the teams who are picking in the top 5 of the draft. How did the Giants and Dolphins get to this point? And what's their primary goal coming out of the draft? In other NFL news, Christian McCaffrey just signed a record-breaking contract with the Panthers, making him the highest-paid running back in the league. USA Today's Jori Epstein has the details. Finally, the documentary of the decade, The Last Dance, will debut this weekend. We talked to former Chicago Bulls player BJ Armstrong this week about what we can expect from the 10-episode series. Yeah, it's Weekly Pulse with USA Today Sports. Let's roll.
The NFL has a new highest-paid running back in town, and Carolina just locked up one of its best weapons. Carolina and Christian McCaffrey agreed to a 4-year extension worth $64 million, a source confirmed to me on Monday afternoon. The deal averages $16 million annually, breaking the record that Ezekiel Elliott had set last September at $15 million a year. But this negotiation process was a little bit different. Unlike Zeke, who held out all of training camp to get his deal, Christian McCaffrey's team in Carolina began negotiating in February at the scouting combine, a source tells me. By April, the deal was done. McCaffrey gets this money after an all-pro season where he rushed for 1,000 yards and had over 1,000 receiving yards, in total contributing 2,392 yards and 19 touchdowns to Carolina's 2019 campaign. Under new head coach Matt Rule and quarterback Teddy Bridgewater, McCaffrey will see if he can do it again. I'm Jori Epstein for USA Today Sports, and that's what I'm hearing. Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott is disputing the report that he held a party Friday night for about 30 people. Prescott issued a statement to USA Today on Tuesday, saying that he understands he's subject to extra media scrutiny, but it's, quote, frustrating and disappointing when people provide completely inaccurate information from anonymous sources, especially now, end quote. Prescott said that he was at his Prosper, Texas home having dinner with fewer than 10 people. Prosper police responded to an anonymous call on Friday night, saying that they were unable upon arriving to confirm any reports that he had violated social distancing guidelines. The police did not issue a citation. Prescott said he's continuing to adjust to social distancing guidelines and understands their importance. Cowboys Vice President Stephen Jones said Tuesday on radio that he'd spoken with Prescott and running back Ezekiel Elliott about the seriousness. He thinks they understand now and that you won't see them violating it anymore. I'm Jori Epstein for USA Today Sports, and that's what I'm hearing.
Not that you're being shortchanged, but that this draft is going to be a lot different for you guys, especially like everyone's going to be watching it, and it's not going to be in person where you actually get to shake, Goodell's hand. And how do you feel like that experience is going to go for you?
Honestly, shortchanged wasn't a bad word. I think you tried to use it, but that's exactly what it is. Just in the fact that this is the first time this has ever happened. Yeah. I was looking forward to getting dressed up. They're saying, okay, well, you could only have 10 people, and then yesterday they put out only 6 people and only your household. So it's just like, it's just taking away all the fun from it.
How do you feel like your reaction's gonna be when your name is called? I mean, what kind of emotion do you think?
I've definitely thought about it. And I'm like, I can't cry on TV. I can't do
like,
it.
Mama.
It's just like, I know that it's just gonna be more than just, let's go, I got picked. Because, it's just a long time coming from everything that I've worked for since a little kid. Nobody in my family has had the kind of money that I'm going to make. Yeah. Being able to really set myself up and set my family up for more success. It's just more to it than just being picked for me.
What do you feel like you can bring to an NFL team? Like, give me a scouting report of yourself.
I just pride myself on being versatile in terms of being able to play all aspects of the game at a high level and not just being one-dimensional. So, I would definitely say my versatility and then my IQ, I would say, is what sets me apart.
So which NFL receivers are you most excited to match up against? I know you've got a list.
Odell Beckham, of course, Stephon Diggs, Michael Thomas, Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
I can keep going, just those top guys. At the end of the day, I've always watched those guys perform, and I've always been a big fan of them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, once it kind of comes to the point where, okay, you see him in person, it's like, okay, now that's what I'm competing against. This is going to be just a real moment that I feel like I can step up to.
My name is Michael Haddock. I was drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles in 1983 as a number 1 draft pick, number 8 pick in the draft. To people that say I was a bust, so maybe I didn't live up to the expectations as a running back or 1,000-yard rusher, but I felt like I was a versatile running back and I had a great career. A week before the draft, the Philadelphia Eagles coach that came down to Mississippi State, and he wanted to get a clock on me again, and that day I ran a 4.42, and I was about 235 pounds, 6'2", and he said, look, that's all we need to see. He said, if you're there at the 8th pick of the draft, we're going to draft you. When the Eagles called my name at the 8th pick in the draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Michael Haddock, Mississippi State, my little sister jumps up and said, we're rich. That would be calculated as one of the best days the best day of my life. And we had made it at that point. We all had made it. And the thing is that it was just a blessing, man, for me to be able to uplift my family and to move on, into the league. That was a highlight of my career. We always played the New York Giants, and nobody could block Lawrence Taylor. So Buddy Ryan would call me the Giant Killer because I was pretty much the only one that could block Lawrence Taylor because I was 235, 6'2". And Lawrence Taylor, of course, Hall of Famer, he's a beast. But, one game we were playing in the game and, I was right in Lawrence's face and Lawrence whispers in my ear and he said, hey, Haddock, if you want my jersey, just ask for it. I was holding on for life. But, we had a mutual respect for each other. He played hard, I played hard, and we had some battles, man. And that was all about.
The Miami Dolphins are here by design. Prior to last season, they tore it down to the studs, leaving now just one player over the age of 30. 14 draft choices, and none more important than the one that general manager Chris Grier will use on the next franchise quarterback. Whether it's Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, or Justin Herbert, Grier must get it right. It's been 15 or 20 years since the Dolphins competed at the highest level, but of course they haven't competed for a championship since the Dan Marino era of the 1980s. That is the assignment for Chris Grier, land Miami's next Dan Marino.
For the 5th time in 6 years, the New York Giants are picking in the top 10 of the NFL draft. While that's great in the offseason and you have your first crack at talent, that's certainly not good for continuity for a franchise that is in a perpetual rebuild, really since the 2011 season when they last won the Super Bowl. So how'd they get here? Well, the lack of continuity since Tom Coughlin left. You're now on your 3rd head coach in Joe Judge. He's entering his 1st season at the helm. You have another general manager in Dave Gettleman, who made the mistake of thinking that this team could compete and rebuild at the same time. He admitted as much back at the Combine this February. So where do the Giants go from here? Well, they've got to build the offensive line, and they've got to rebuild the defense that has very little assets put on that side of the ball. Sitting in the top 5, they'll have their crack at a playmaker on defense in Isaiah Simmons from Clemson, and they'll have likely their pick of the top offensive tackles in the draft. If the Giants go there, then add other pieces throughout this draft, and finally show some patience, this team may be on the upswing in terms of realizing where they are and where they need to get to.
The football world is in mourning today amid news that former NFL quarterback Tavares Jackson died suddenly Sunday night at the age of 36. Authorities said he was involved in a one-car crash in his native Alabama. While he was never a superstar player in the NFL, he was a very productive one. He started 34 games with the Minnesota Vikings and the Seattle Seahawks, threw for 39 touchdown passes over the course of his career, and even won a Super Bowl ring in 2014 as the backup to Russell Wilson on the Seahawks. More recently, Jackson had switched to coaching. He was coached first at his alma mater, Alabama State, before moving to Tennessee State last season, where he was coaching the quarterbacks. He told our colleagues at the Tennessean that he viewed his role as a coach as a chance to help younger quarterbacks avoid some of the same mistakes that he had made during his NFL career.
In your personal opinion, do you think there are certain things fans will learn about Jordan the player and as a person that may not have came to light back then?
You're going to really see someone who truly loved the game. And when he retired, I think a part of who he was and who he is kind of retired as well. And that is what I think you're going to see. And I think that's been hard for him to allow people to open himself up to that, to say, I only did this for one reason. I loved it. I love to compete. I love to play. And I think that's going to be hard for him to probably watch, I would imagine.
I guess since his retirement, he's kept a pretty low profile. Do you think that this is somewhat of an entry back into the spotlight? He
wasn't ever concerned about being a star. Like, Air Jordan was a character to him. At least he did a great job of convincing me that he knew who Air Jordan was, and Air Jordan did all of the things. And then there was Michael, the teammate, and he was comfortable in knowing who he was and how to manage all of those other, personalities and characters that he needed to be. The X factor for him was performance. I'm not going to talk about money or this. I'm just going to perform. And I think performance for him was the only thing that mattered. That's what I hope you can see from this, is that it really meant a lot to him. And I love him for that, because he always kept that first and foremost in his life.
Oklahoma City Thunder point guard Chris Paul. I talked to him about a number of topics, but the main takeaway was trying to get an update on where things stand with the NBA. And he said basically everything is in a wait and see game, because the situation is so fluid. There's not clarity on when businesses can start reopening. There's no clarity on when the NBA can resume the season. Chris Paul's stance is that it's not so much about weighing which scenario is better than the other. It's all about which option will be the safest route for players to return.
Wednesday, April 15th is Jackie Robinson Day, the day baseball celebrates the great Robinson, who broke the color barrier in 1947. Traditionally, players be all wearing number 42. Be plenty of celebrations across the United States in every major league ballpark. Unfortunately, with the coronavirus pandemic, the celebrations will have to be done in private. Tim Anderson, the great Chicago White Sox shortstop, plans to celebrate and honor Robinson his way. What he wants to do is get young players, whether black, white, or brown, into the game. Certainly all of baseball, whether on the playing field or not, we'll still celebrate Jackie Robinson Day.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm sorry. Last night I made a mistake and said the word that should never, ever be said. And, there's no excuse for that. I wasn't raised that way. It's just an awful thing to say. And I feel very sorry for my family, my friends, my partners, the NASCAR community, and especially the African-American community. I understand the damage is probably unrepairable, and I own up to that. But I just wanted to let you all know how sorry I am, and I hope everybody is staying safe during these crazy times. Thank you.
Kyle Larson has apologized for using a racial slur during a live stream broadcast of an iRacing event on Sunday. He has since been fired by Chip Ganassi Racing. The 27-year-old had been piloting the number 42 Chevrolet and has racked up 6 Career Cup wins. Prior to being ousted by his team, virtually all of his sponsors dropped the 2014 Cup Rookie of the Year. Larson has also been suspended indefinitely by NASCAR. Larson was in his 7th full season on the circuit and was in the final year of his contract.
Like everyone these days, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, Simone Biles is taking things one day at a time. But when I spoke with the reigning Olympic champion, she said she does plan to resume training for Tokyo as soon as facilities are open again. Now, she hasn't been in the gym since last Thursday, and facilities in her county in Texas are closed through at least April 30th. But she said coaches Laurent and Cecile Landy have given her a, quote, hefty at-home workout, which she plans to start doing. And she said she's just trying to wrap her head around being a normal person. She said that's the toughest thing in all of this is the mental challenge. For Simone, she's got such natural physical ability that getting her skills back probably won't be an issue. But readjusting to the fact that the plan that she's had for the last 3 years now has to be changed. She had planned to go to Tokyo and then retire, and now instead of being done in 3 months, it's 15 months. So that's an adjustment. And she said she thinks that's going to be the case for all of these athletes as they deal with the postponement of the Tokyo Games from this July to July of 2021.
The way that I've kind of described what CrossFit was over the last couple of years that I've been doing it is it's more of like a lifestyle because you kind of combine all of these things together. So that's probably the best way that I can describe CrossFit without saying the typical CrossFit is constantly very functional movement done at high intensities.
It's a training program, first and foremost. I feel like what CrossFit has become is a way of living. It's functional training, mixed modalities, it's running, gymnastics, weightlifting, powerlifting, pretty much anything you can imagine, but it's set up in a fun way for grown-ups to play.
That's what drew me to in the beginning was that it was kind of trying to create like the super athlete, the athlete that can kind of excel or do well in every single domain rather than just be the best at one of them.
You play sports in high school and college and growing up, but then once you're done with playing your sport, done competing, like you're almost just done. But I feel in CrossFit, I found what I was supposed to be doing.
People are always like, oh, I need to get in shape before I come to the gym. You don't need to get in shape. That's how you get in shape, is going to the gym. Like, yes, it can be intimidating. I always tell people it's like finding the right doctor for you. Like every gym's gonna be a little bit different. So you just wanna find the gym that works for you.
Well, advice for newbies, the first and the hardest step is actually just stepping into the gym. Everything in CrossFit is scalable. Yes, I've finished on the podium 5 times and won the CrossFit Games twice, but my mom still trains next to me. And that's the beauty of CrossFit. You don't have to feel scared or intimidated because every single movement has an option for you. That and the community aspect keeps you in it.
I want you to walk me through your training at the moment. How are you preparing during this quarantine time?
Well, one of my trainers are actually staying open, and I'm in Athens, Georgia. He's in Beaufort. He has a facility in Beaufort. So I take about an hour drive almost every day just to get a workout in.
So what do those workouts consist of since you're pretty much, are you by yourself during these workouts?
No, it's like 5 of us at a time. We do like field position drills, and then we might lift afterwards.
Okay, and so how are you keeping in contact with scouts and teams right now? I know it's probably really weird too.
Yeah, all FaceTime calls over the phone, stuff like this, like group FaceTime calls, yeah.
Been like interviews via FaceTime?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Is that kind of nerve-wracking since you're not able to like be in person?
It can be, because sometimes the phone may get blurry. You can't see what they're trying to show. So, yeah, but I mean, you got to do what you got to do at this point.
I had read that there were some like FaceTime, Skype interviews going on with guys. Like that's like the initial thing you're doing ahead of the draft. Is that right?
Yes, man. That's right.
Okay. And so obviously with this year's draft, you and a lot of the other prospects won't be going to Las Vegas. I probably would have seen you there because I was planning to go there too. But from what you do know, what will the draft kind of look like since it's been changed a little bit?
I think, from my understanding, it's just like how some people that don't choose to go to the actual draft and have it televised at their house or wherever they may have like a little draft party. I think it's like that kind of same thing. So I'm going back to Philadelphia.
There's a real possibility that all off-season activities could be canceled in the NFL, meaning no mini rookie camps or full team mini camps. How comfortable are you with the idea that your first real day with the team could possibly be training camp?
It's kind of like you don't know what you're going into, so that's why you gotta stay in shape, gotta stay active as possible, because you really don't know what you're going into.
Have there been any teams on your mind that you're like, ooh, these are my top 3, top 4 teams?
I really don't think it matters what I think. I think it's up to everybody else. But I really can't get like a tell or like a vibe for who really like me, because all the conversations I have are kind of like going the same. So I can't really put one over the other right now. So I don't know.
How much have you been in contact with other guys in your draft class, and what are they doing to train? Have you guys been like going back and forth?
Yeah, I was talking to a couple of my teammates yesterday that's going to the draft. Everybody really finding a way to train. Everybody's like asking their trainers to use facilities, just be smart about it. Like not a lot of group of people, but you still got to go do something.
And I've seen some mock drafts having you going to Tampa Bay, and a lot of people have you going to the Bucks. What would you think of that fit, and what would it be like to team up with Tom Brady?
That'd be crazy. That's every like kid little dream to see Tom Brady. He's been in the league for so long.
I know you're holding it back.
I know. Yeah, that'd be amazing. First rookie year, just to be next to Tom Brady, just to see him every day, how he go about business, stuff like that. That'd be amazing.
The Bucks. Is there a certain team that you grew up wanting to play for?
No, I just like the game of football. I never really had like a specific team that I watched or like was a big fan of. Like I like to see the Eagles win because I'm from Philly, but yeah.
Okay, and so if you could compare your game to anyone in the league right now, who would you pick and why?
I'd say Christian McCaffrey from the Panthers. Yeah, just because he does everything. Catch the ball out of the backfield. They put him in space a lot, make a lot of people miss, and I think that's something I can do really well.
You to rank your top 5 running backs, either of all time or in the league right now.
Oh man, I ain't get asked that. So I get to choose either all time or right now.
Time or that's playing right now, just your top 5 running backs.
All right, I'm gonna go right now because I know 5 current people. Number 1, my favorite. Number 1, that'd probably be Saquon. Yeah. Number 2 would be Christian McCaffrey, probably. 3 would be probably Alvin Kamara. Yeah, Alvin Kamara. 4 would be
I know you're gonna throw Todd Gurley in there somewhere.
Yeah, I got to. Todd and Sony, and that's 6, but I gotta put the dogs in there.
Okay. Yeah. Because you came in there with both of those guys on the team. I mean, have they given you any advice for the draft?
I mean, they gave me the advice going into the combine, but I haven't really asked them anything about the draft. I'm kind of playing in my ears, really just waiting to get your name called at this point. I need to ask them about stuff like their process going to the combine, like questions they was asked and how to prepare for stuff like that. But at this point, I mean, I'm just waiting for the phone call.
And a lot of people I know are really fixated on Joe Burrow, Tua, and Jordan Love. But from your experience with Jake, what makes him a good QB and someone that could succeed in the NFL, in your opinion?
He's a great leader, first and foremost. He's going to make sure everybody else is okay before him. Just his spirit, like no matter what's going on, whether we had a bad game, he had a bad game, his spirit was always positive. He was one of the positive people I met. So I think his ability to affect other people on and off the field definitely put him over the edge. He's a great football player, great quarterback.
Go back to 2018. Did you guys think you had the natty in the bag against Bama?
I did, for sure. I thought we had it, especially going into halftime.
Yeah. Do you ever think about it? Since I think that was your freshman year, right?
Yeah, the natty is my freshman year.
Did you guys think you'd make it back after that?
Yeah, that's kind of our mindset. From every year we was there, we wanted to get back to Atlanta, play the SEC championship first and foremost, and then play the national championship.
And Alabama had their time, LSU had theirs, but when do you think Georgia's gonna have theirs?
Any year. We could have had our time 3 years in a row. It's just the little stuff that we need to fix. And I think Georgia's definitely on the right track. Coach Smart doing the right thing for the program.
That's it from us at Weekly Pulse, your heartbeat to what's trending in sports.
Hey sports fans, if you want to see more videos like this, check out some of our other ones right here. And if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button and stick around for more from USA Today Sports.